Guru Nation, we are live breaking news for you guys. Judy Galindo, Michelle Dowling, Sun Valley Research Center in Imperial. Uh, One of my favorite sites, my second favorite site after UMaClanco Charles is you guys, by the way. So we're
Same.
neighbors, we share some resources, probably should share more going forward. But Judy and I are business partners, Latinos in Clinical Research, Save Our Sites, Site Owner Academy, a whole bunch of stuff. And she went to SCRS and she's brought feedback back, and she brought Michelle with her. Michelle, who did we ever do a podcast, Michelle? Were you this is your
No,
first one?
this is my first.
Wow. Well, why don't you introduce yourself first then? Because everyone
Sure.
knows Judy already.
Yes. Hi. My name is Michelle. I've been here with Sun Valley Research Center for 12 years. I started as a phlebotomist, actually.
Wow.
I then moved to administrative assistant, then to research assistant. Then I was a coordinator for a few years, and then moved on to regulatory specialist, regulatory compliance specialist, and I'm currently the site manager for Sun Valley.
Wow.
So I've been I've done it all
Yeah,
mostly.
pretty much.
That's the way to do it. Promote from
Mhm.
within. I love that. And you've been with Judy almost since the beginning. Judy's been
Since
there
since the
quite
beginning.
some
Yep.
time.
Yep.
A long
Nice.
time.
Okay. And Judy, just for those that don't know you, I mean, I don't know anyone who doesn't know you by now, but just really quick, you're becoming a fan favorite of everyone. So
Yeah, real quick. So I've been in the research industry 20 years, started working as well as a research assistant for a sleep disorders company, moved up through different positions at that company. And then 17 years ago, had the opportunity to open a site with two psychiatrists in Imperial County. Took the opportunity, and that's what I'm doing. Currently, I'm the executive director, but also the co-owner of Sun Valley Research Center, as well as everything else you mentioned that we're collaborating on.
when Michelle, we'll go a little left from what I want to get. We're going to get to SCRS right now, but when Michelle first started working for you, did you see potential in her one day running your site? Yes or no? Immediately.
No, I don't think I was looking, I wasn't even looking at that point, like who was going to be the site manager. But I do want to say she was recommended by another staff multiple times as to bring on as a phlebotomist. But we weren't extremely busy at that time where we could have that role until we started getting busier. And so finally, after a few times of Rosie mentioning it several times, I was like, okay, I think it's time to bring somebody else on. And that's where it started. Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, and I was actually per diem.
Oh, yes, I
So
think so.
just pretty much
Wow.
as needed, I would come in, do my
Mhm.
labs, and that's it. But I think that was only for like not even a month when I actually then got hired.
So she came in raw ingredients and she's basically earned it her way up to where she is
Yeah,
now.
yeah. And learned, trained, took on the various positions, was willing to. She's always been very interested in moving up and learning more and taking on the response. And she never really says no. I guess she takes a challenge. So that's why she's been able to definitely go in the various areas that she's been in, which, as you mentioned, I think it is a perfect way to start. She had the phlebotomy skills, and then training her on research was just what we needed to do. And anyone else can do that in the industry as well.
Do you think, maybe it's for both of you guys, do you guys think you can teach anyone with the right amount of time to be a site director?
Yes, if they're willing to learn.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't
If they're willing to
matter.
learn.
What are some red flags that they can't, besides like not willing to learn, but like what else?
They're not good multitasker. They get stressed out very easily. They
Overwhelmed.
can't. They call, maybe they're not as reliable. Maybe they every so often call in
Okay.
sick or they don't show up when they,
So
I think that
reliability.
reliability, right.
So is it fair
Um,
to say any good coordinator could be a site director, or is still more
Not
than that?
necessarily. Not necessarily, because there are really good coordinators, but they're really good coordinators, and that's it. They can work with staff, they're not management material. And then there's those that are really good coordinators that are management material. And
That's the
I
part I
definitely,
want to learn.
yes.
So, what is it from a really good coordinator? You need management. So, what does that actually mean? Like people skills
People
or
skills,
what?
you need to be able to work in a team. What else, Michelle? I'll let you. I'm all
Yeah,
speaking.
definitely people skills and work well under stress to get along, even though you're not always going to like people, try to get along with everybody. Leave your
Hmm.
personal issues at home.
Can you
I think,
learn people skills, Michelle?
Mm,
We're gonna
I,
find a
no,
a
I don't
question
nah,
that's
think
tough.
so. I don't think
yeah,
so.
I don't have an
I
I
answer,
think
by
so.
the way. I'm
I
just
Yeah,
don't think
curious.
so. I think
yeah,
it comes with you already.
right. I think you can learn some of that, but it's just who you are, your personality. Either you're a people person or you're not, or you can adapt to work in a team. And there's just people that are not really people
So you
persons.
can learn. Okay, so
Yeah.
it sounds like some may be able to learn, but some can't. Then does
Yeah.
age have something to do with it? Like if someone's
No,
young enough, they could still learn the people skill, or what do you
no.
think?
I think it's your ability to want to learn and adapt. So, like, you start a role and you are the way you are. And if you want to move up, sometimes you do need to adapt and be a little different when you consider working environment, or if you're going to take up on a management role. And some people are just not that open to learning those skills or being able to do that and work with a team, right?
I
And
see.
so those won't make great managers, in my opinion.
Right.
Mhm.
Some people just come and do what they're supposed to do and that's it. And they don't want to deal with anything else
Right.
Mhm.
and are not willing to either.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that's okay too, because if they're
Mhm.
really good at what they're doing and those roles, then why change it? Keep it
Yeah.
and then
Good
you just,
coordinators
yeah,
are hard to come by.
Mhm.
exactly.
I would tend to
Exactly.
say you can learn people skills if you haven't learned other bad habits yet. So it's not age, it's more like where you've been before. Because some
Hmm.
people have been in toxic situation. I
Yeah,
don't think you can
that's
unlearn
true.
it, but some people are new and like you're their first job, and I think in those cases you might be able to. I think it boils down to the site owner, site
Yeah.
director,
I think
how
the
closely they work.
atmosphere as well as the environment of the place
Hmm.
that you're bringing. But I do see what we have noticed is though the younger staff that have started with us because they're new into the work industry or research, they're a lot of times more willing to learn, to take on whatever they need to take on. They're more open to it instead of like maybe someone who is older and already worked various places. They're kind of set in their ways.
Mhm.
Sometimes, not all the
That's
time,
true.
but
All
mhm.
right.
Yeah.
Just curious. That maybe for personal reasons, maybe not. But I am curious about this kind of stuff as I get older.
Mhm.
So SCRS, by the way,
Yeah.
did this kind of conversation happen at SCRS?
Not this
No,
specific about employees. No, I'm sure they
no.
had a session. I couldn't go to every session, but no, we didn't have this conversation. No.
What was it like, SCRS? Give us the true, brutal feedback, the good, the bad, the parts you would like to change, the parts that you like to keep for SCRS.
Yeah. I mean, I can, Michelle, you want to go first? You want
Yeah.
me to go first? Okay, go ahead.
It was overall a good experience. The educational sessions that they had, uh, for example, I joined a regulatory one. This is mostly what I do, or one of the things I do here, and it was just very interesting to see what that other sites are very similar. I mean, we're not just dealing with things alone. Like everybody seems to be dealing with the same thing, and just getting feedback from other sites and what they're doing also helps, me maybe change some things that I feel need improvement. And so the sessions were good. There was a lot that I wanted to join. I couldn't obviously because, I think that one of the days they did repeat. They had like a time for a few sessions and then they repeated over so that you could, do another one that you were interested in. But I think the following day was just a one-time thing. I like that they did have like hands-on, like everybody had to participate. That's also very good, especially, because you're tired. If you're just listening, it can get boring. But if they, involve you into the topics and have you, they had us in groups and things like that. I think that's also very helpful to
Were there
see
like
whatever.
small groups in these groups where you said everyone has to participate, or like what was the?
There was one actually for this one. Judy was one of
Yes,
the
the panelists, thank you.
panelists. Yes.
They got you on the
Um,
panel? Dang.
and they split us up into four groups, and we had maybe about 10 in each group, more or less. So yeah, small. Some sessions had less people than others. I think I would have, like I said, I would have liked to be able to join others because there were some very interesting topics. But overall, I think it was really good. I did feel a little overwhelmed with all of these companies because a lot of them do the same thing. And it's kind of hard to just, go to one booth and learn about what they do, and then you move on to the next, and it's basically the same thing, but everybody wants to sell you their product. So it's like,
Mm.
okay, tell me something new, but
They
it was
wanted
good.
your
I think,
feedback on their like, hey, do our demo, Michelle. Didn't you
yeah,
tell
which
them that I
actually,
do enough during the work that I don't want to do this like when I'm off?
exactly. Well, and I mean, I am interested in seeing what others, have, but it's just, I feel like there's so many of them now. Before, you wouldn't
Mhm.
see so many of these companies, and most of them do the same thing.
Are
But
they like tech
um,
vendors that you're talking about?
tech
Yeah,
vendors, yeah,
there's a lot of
CTMS,
those.
yeah,
CTMS, yeah. They got everything now.
Yeah,
yeah,
Everything except nothing really works the way we want
exactly,
true, true.
exactly,
It's
yeah,
missing something.
Yep.
yeah.
Okay. So all in all, like, what was the best part for you, Michelle? Did you, well, okay, be honest. Did you actually learn anything new, number one? And number two, what was the best part? Like, did you actually meet anyone from the networking that you think there might be something of value there later?
I met people through Judy because Judy is very
Judy's the
famous.
star, I'm
Judy
telling you.
walks and she's stopping everywhere saying hello. And so she introduced me to a lot of people.
Okay.
She's really good at it. Honestly, I think I'm a people's person, but I'm more like on the shy side. So I mean, I was glad she was there. I know eventually I'm gonna have to fly solo. But I mean, she knows a lot of people. So
Yeah.
through her, I got to meet.
All right. And did you learn anything?
I did. I did get some regulatory feedback that I think that I want to implement.
Okay. So something that you will bring home
Yes.
from maybe. Okay. Good. And Judy, by the way, did any of you guys bring the goodie bag that we can deconstruct it?
Oh, I already took it apart, but Michelle.
Mm, I
Do you have
like
one?
no, not here. I have it at home.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll do another part two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Let me know, and I'll bring it.
Yeah, we need like an unboxing of like the swag.
Sure, sure, sure.
What
And
about you,
I want to
Judy?
add a question before we go to me, because I got asked this too. What, for Michelle, what is your interest in going to these conferences? Or why
For
do you think it benefits you? Mhm.
mostly networking. I think I have learned that networking is a huge part of clinical research. I'm pretty new in LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm barely getting the hang of it. Um, a lot of the people that I connected with or met over there, I have been adding to LinkedIn, and I think that networking was one of the things I've learned. Like it's how important it is, and to be able to do that and keep up with your profile, keep them updated as well.
Good, good. So yeah, I guess to kind of take after what she mentioned is I get asked this question a lot. I think you've asked me, Chris asked me, why do I go to these conferences? And there's various reasons I go, not just, I go as a site owner. There's a bunch of things that I'm interested in collaborating, networking with people. There's other things I do in the industry. So I'm always open to sharing my experience, what I do at a site, working in a community. If it's going to help others, yes, I want to be on a panel. I want to be part of that discussion. But aside from that, once in a while, there are topics or content that is mentioned, and I want to sit in. For example, the FDA one is always something I'm always interested in sitting in because we need to stay on top of the FDA audits. What are things they're looking at? some feedback they can give us sites that we can come back and bring it. But I'm always looking at, is there a better way we can do things at our site? Is there better tech we can use at our site that can make my job efficient, Michelle's, as well as everybody else's job efficient? I was also overwhelmed. There's a lot of tech vendors. I think even more this year, a bunch of CTMS vendors. Some that are several well-known, right? One that we use, but then others that are newer to the industry that are, right along like with these top ones there, they
Were any
have
of
pretty
them
much,
free?
no, none of them are free that I'm aware of.
Yeah.
And if there was a free, it's like a component of it, maybe like e-regulatory is free for now for this. But as a site owner and site representative, I don't want the free ones if it's not going to be efficient for me. So if you're giving me something free and it's like one out of the 5 things I need, but then I still need to find something else that works for these 4 other things I need, then I don't really care about the free one. I need something that's all inclusive. So if it's going to cost me a little bit more, I'm going to use that. I'm going to go with that system because I'm already putting that time and effort to set it up. For example, we're talking e-regulatory, e-source, because one day you're going to have to transition from that free one to a different platform. So to me, it's like I might as well just do the work now. So that's my interest, networking, BD, connecting with everybody. I don't get to see everybody in research all the time. So these conferences is a chance for us to catch up, connect, maybe answer questions that they had that we couldn't get to, collaborate, see what they're doing. And maybe there is a potential collaboration opportunity in the future. And so it is nice to go to these. I think overall, it's a good conference. It's just very overwhelming with the sessions. So I don't like that they have a bunch of sessions going on at the same time because there's a lot of good topics at the same time. So honestly, I was like, okay, Michelle, which one are you going to? You go to this one and I'll try to go to this one. And so we try to hit like different topics.
Oh,
So
you
at
guys
least like,
split up? You divide and
yeah,
conquer?
with some, yeah. And so I was like, okay, did
Okay.
you make it to this one? I didn't make it after all. So then she had to like try to go. So that's what we do, but it's only 2 of us, I didn't have my whole team there. Because we do every once in a while, you do learn something, some feedback, something you can take back, something that other sites are doing better, that is working. And so you really come back with and reconsider, could we change the way we're doing things, right? So I think that's the only thing I don't like. I think there's very important topics that should be at these conferences, but they should be given that time priority for everybody to attend if you want to without overlapping. And then the other thing I wasn't a huge fan of, and maybe that's just how they're set up, they don't really have too much networking events. The only thing they do is they'll have like a networking event in the exhibit hall at a certain time. So they have everybody there, they have drinks, and that's it. But outside of that, they don't do anything any of the nights everybody is there, other than I think a gala that they do on Saturday night, but that's like extra. So I really think it's important. We have all these people coming in from like all over the US and internationally to get them all together in a room. So like a networking Thursday night, Friday night, like whether it's everybody meet up at the bar or I don't, whatever that is. I think that's important because then you get to connect with people more. And people get to know each other, BD, whatever it is they're trying to do. So I definitely recommend that, which is what I like about Save Our Sites. That's all right? Networking BD is a huge part of that conference. And we make sure that we're going to do something, and we will be doing something Thursday night, Friday night, right?
Yep.
For that purpose. And then other than that, I mean, I think I came back with same Michelle, we've been in this industry for a while. There's a lot of topics that still affect a lot of us, which is finances, budget contracts, getting paid on time. But another huge thing that keeps coming up is how are sites getting study leads? Where are sites getting study leads? Like, how can we get these study leads depending on these therapeutic areas? Like, and there's nothing there yet. Like, they might have a session here and there or something where they kind of like talk about it, but there's
Yeah.
nothing connecting people with each other to get this done, right?
Right.
Other than what the only thing I can say that I really liked too as well is they have site symposiums one of the days where different sponsors, this is pharma sponsors, had like a 1-hour session where they talked about like what they're doing to connect with sites. And so one of the really good ones was Takeda. Takeda had like 20 people in this session from their company. And literally they were like, what do you guys need us so we can work together? Like, tell us what you need. What are your pain points so we could take this back? And they had representatives from different departments of Takeda. So people who work in budget contract, people who work probably in feasibility. So that way they all were there to hear this positive or negative things that people wanted to mention. So they can improve what they do, but also connect better with sites. And that was the point of these symposiums. I think the same thing with AstraZeneca, they did something similar. So I like that because I really felt like they really want to work with my site, right? When they have something like that and they actually listen to us.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I think that was probably let me think what else. I think other than the sessions,
What was like the big
symposiums,
theme? Like the big th like you
hmm,
know how like you go someplace and you have one thing that's like a big theme that you notice that's different
a
this time.
topic.
Yeah, like anything. Like
Hmm.
what's a new trend or like did you walk away from this saying, "Wow, XYZ surprised me more than I thought."
Uh, I guess I was a little bit more surprised that there are so many site networks now compared to before, and they were actually there. They had exhibit booths, more
Wow.
than before, I think. And so that was kind of
Were they
interesting to
throwing money
see.
at people walking by? Like throwing the money?
No, I
Yeah,
mean,
that would
no,
have been
but they
nice.
had a booth there.
Then I would
Several.
have
There were
come. I would have
several.
been there.
So that was interesting, and I think that was a topic, or
What was
discussion.
surprising about that though? That there was so many or that they're already so big or like what was it
No,
exactly?
I mean, I know this is going on in the industry, right? Look, sites are being bought up and they're being part of these site networks or groups or whatever they're calling them.
Yeah.
I guess that there was so many and that they have that presence now where they actually have an exhibit booth because before they wouldn't have that. I think if you
Yeah.
saw one or two, maybe three, but this time there was a lot, and I'm sure we'll see a growing trend of that as well.
Yeah. I had that same feeling not at a conference but at an investigator meeting.
Mm.
Almost a year ago exactly, in October of last year, I went to Dallas with my wife because none of my coordinators wanted to go. What do you think about that, Michelle? None of them wanted to go. So I'm like, all right, I'll
What?
go. Yeah, I stayed an extra 2 days. It was cool. I was blown away, Judy, at how many of the sites there. There was like around 130. We were one of them. Like half of them, no exaggeration, were site networks, two big site networks
Mm.
representing half of all the sites. That
Wow.
was my big moment where I'm like, wow, the
Yeah.
site networks are here now. Like it's real. I'm not
Right.
just
Right.
reading about it on a article. It's like actually here.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, you definitely saw that SCRS. I think more than ACRP. I feel like I didn't see that
Yeah, I
much,
didn't
but
see. I was there
it's
too. I was
yeah,
there.
but
I
definitely
almost got kicked out of
SCRS.
that one. That was good times, but I promised I would be good, and not be negative.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know what, to add something else, because I know you
yeah.
mentioned it. So the panels, the way the panels they had, or I guess they were breakout sessions or panels. So they had a room and the room, it was like square, right? Like all the chairs were around these tables. And so people were kind of sitting around that way. But the rooms were kind of big. So if there wasn't a lot of people, it felt like a really big room with only so many people. But if the room was smaller, they're just like better interaction, better discussions. But I agree with Michelle. It's nice when they're interactive. Whoever the panelists are, they're speaking, but they're engaging with the audience. I think that's what people want. They want to be able to ask questions instead of just going to a session. You're sitting there listening and you really didn't have a chance to ask a question. I don't like that. So that's why I think and shout out to my panelists, Fayez, Dan, and Bo, and Donna, who wasn't there, but she helped put everything together. That was our idea from the beginning, is that we wanted to engage whoever was going to attend the session. We don't want them to just hear us talk. Yeah, we can say all these things, but what do you guys want to hear? What do you want us to talk
Wait,
about?
Bo
Based
Laura?
Bo, no, Bo from
Oh,
I don't know his
okay.
last name off the top of my head right
Okay,
now,
okay.
but I believe, yeah, Bo.
Yeah,
Let me see if I can
Florence, that
pull it
you
up.
said?
Yeah,
I
he's
just thought it was
Bo
my boy, Bo
Brunu.
Laura, but okay.
No, Brunu. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I believe
Okay.
he's from Florence. But yeah, they all, and we all have. So I was the site perspective, and then everyone was their own, whether tech perspective or sponsor
Ah.
perspective. So it was different perspectives. So that was the idea, and that's why we broke down. We took the room into four parts, and we each went to a corner and interacted. There was like a question we wanted to ask them, and then we got their feedback, and then we shared this with a group. And then on top of it, shout out to Dan or whoever, all of us put this together, but he actually like wrote this up. There was a 7-page document with all this feedback we were going to give to the people who attended because it had to do about like when sponsors and CROs are looking at your site, what do you want them to see, or what should they see in order to want to work with you? What do patients want to see in order? So if you want a patient to go to your site or your academic, what should they be able to see or be comfortable having for them to want to participate in the study? So it kind of has to do with digital, like your website presence, your presence in the community, all these different things. So there's a 7-page document with this feedback that he made, I think like 20 copies of,
Wow.
and plus he's going to update it after the
Can I get
session
one?
and send it.
Do you
Yeah,
have one?
yeah, and we're going to send it to whoever was interested. But even SCRS is asking for this document. They were going to share it, that was the point of it. If we're going to have the session, we're going to give you feedback. If there's something else we can give you that you can take back to your site or your clinic, wherever whoever you're working for, and possibly consider doing some of that feedback and improving on what you do, then great. That was the mission, right? Mission accomplished. So that, and then other than that, I mean, that's what I would recommend now. Going back as we're planning SOS is doing these smaller, engaging sessions or breakout rooms, or I don't know how we're going to call it, instead of having everything in this huge, large room and people talking. And I think that's definitely something we've been discussing anyways, right? As
Yep.
we're planning this.
And Michelle, since you're not a SOS founder, uh, what did you not see there that you would like to see at another conference?
You know what? I was thinking right now that Judy was talking. I know that there's different types of sites. We have sites that have different or multiple sites within one. We have the smaller sites. I think I would like to see something maybe separate and talk more directly to those that have smaller sites. To
Mm,
I think that would be very helpful or good for those of us that are coming from a smaller sites to see what others are doing.
I see. Yeah, even for coordinators, because
Right.
I know
Mhm.
from this investigator meeting I went to, I met coordinators from, these big site networks, and they don't do most of the things my coordinators do, like everything. And these people
Exactly.
only do like one or two things.
Mhm.
Yeah. We here, I mean, and I'm sure with you too, the coordinator does pretty much everything.
Yeah,
They could
yeah.
pre-screen, they could do data entry, they could
Take out the trash,
perform
mop the floors,
the visit.
everything.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah.
So I think it's also it would be a good opportunity to be able to connect with other
Yeah,
coordinators from these
yeah,
smaller sites.
I see. And I
Yeah.
think that's
And
what SOS does well. Were there coordinators from the big site networks there, or were there just their executives?
um maybe there was a few possibly executives, but I don't think we had too many. We'd have to go back and
No,
look at the
So
list.
they don't
Mhm.
bring their staff.
Oh, you're talking about SCRS?
Yeah, at
Yeah.
SCRS.
Oh, yeah, no, I think there was.
Oh, they were
So
okay.
especially the ones that had the booths, because then they need more presence at the booth and somebody to be there
Okay,
all the time. So yeah, no, I'm gonna say if they were there, like whoever had their site networks, there was several people in attendance, several, definitely the major players of
but like
these.
the people on the ground, like the coordinators.
Yeah, yeah, on the ground and management as well. Hmm.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do, as Michelle was mentioning, our staff, when we first started, we were small. Obviously, the coordinator is going to do everything. But as you start to grow, then you start to see like what can you take off the coordinator and you develop it into another position like a pre-screener recruiter, right? Or research
Yeah,
assistant. And that's a slow process you start to do and you start to alleviate that. So even though
Mhm.
they started with doing everything, the point is to make them more efficient, be able
yeah,
to focus on seeing the patients, collecting the data, and not have to do those tasks that are very time consuming. And then that's where you start to alleviate. So not until the past couple of years did we start to transition. Okay, now we need a few research assistants and more pre-screener recruiters, and now QA QC person, and now regulatory person. But it was over the years we developed into that. It
Right.
didn't happen overnight.
yeah. I saw that this summer we hired an admin, and it was
Mhm.
huge for us. And he went
Yeah.
back to nursing school, but it was meant to be a temporary job. But I think that's gonna be a full-time thing for
Yeah.
us to
Yeah, and
work
you'll see
everywhere.
that as you start to grow, right? Like the need and then how much it does help you once you perfect it or get the right person that does it
Yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I guess that was pretty good feedback. I told you I'd be good. Like I I've never gone. I've been once. And yeah, conferences are good, guys. It's good to go.
I think
Any
everyone
last
has
words?
their, yeah, everyone has their perspective on why they go. I have a variety of reasons. Michelle has probably way different reasons, as she mentioned. And so that's why they exist, right? There's so many that exist. But definitely recommend everybody attend Saver Sites because we're definitely going to make it smaller, more intimate, and exactly what we discussed that
Yes,
we weren't fans of. We'd like to improve. That's what we're going to make sure we have at Saver Sites.
you're absolutely right. And every year, even the same person is gonna want different things. I believe
Mhm.
Seneca, the philosopher, said, "You never step in the same river twice." So, you had a bad experience in one year. Well, next year's gonna be different. You're gonna be different. The conference probably gonna be different. So I think
Mhm.
there's always value in going to these things. And at the end of the day, it's about the people. So,
Mhm.
well,
Yeah.
thank you. I wanted to hear from boots on the ground that were there.
Yeah, of
Next time, one of
course.
you guys has to vlog, okay? Probably
Yeah, we're
Judy.
not. Oh, I
Judy's
don't know.
gonna
I
have
don't have
access
time.
to all the
I think
guests. They
so.
And I
guests
can't
make
say hi to
themselves.
everybody. I can't say hi to everybody
No, you do.
to
You just
one
say
or the
hi
other.
like this. Hey
No,
guys.
I don't
Okay,
know about
talk.
that's a lot of work too.
You're the expert then.
Yeah, you are.
I mean, that's the only way I'll go. Yeah, we gotta get as much like on the boots on the ground footage that we could possibly get because that's as authentic as it comes. But
Right.
not everyone's okay with that. All right. Like,
Great.
subscribe, comment, share, go follow Judy right now and go follow Michelle. She has a brand new LinkedIn.
No, it's been there, but
Ah,
more
inactive.
recently
It's
More
been
active,
updated.
more active
More
now. Now
active.
it's active.
you unburied it from the graveyard. Like Chris Sauber, 15
Chris,
years
I
his
know.
LinkedIn's been
Yes.
buried and now he
Hey, I
finally
got a I got a free headshot at the meeting, so that's a
Oh,
plus. And
yeah,
I
that was a good.
updated my picture on LinkedIn.
Okay. I gotta go check it out.
Yeah.
I'll connect with you.
Right,
All right.
great.
Like, subscribe, comment, share, go follow, guys. Bye bye.
Bye.